And I've got a really spicy topic as the lesson. Okay, it's called The Rescuee in Relationships, What You Can Change. Because, you know, in the past we've always focused on the rescuer. The rescuer is a person, again, who does something for someone else that they can do for themselves. They're doing something for that person that they can do for themselves. But as you know, where there's a rescuer, there's always a rescuee, and it's always two parties involved in relationships. And I've got a fictional story for you. This is the story of Doug and Donna, two Christians who met in church. So Doug is a really smart, gifted guy. He's really loved by everyone. He always seems so cheerful and polite, and he is friends with everyone. And he's always the first to say yes, and, you know, he hardly ever says no to helping out. Who doesn't love Doug? And Doug is dating Donna. And Donna is also a smart, gifted young lady, and she has a few close friends and is very loyal to them. And Donna has been through, though, a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of complex trauma. So she has depression and anxiety, and she often isolates herself because she gets easily triggered in certain situations. So she's on this healing journey. And so, but Doug loves rescuing Donna. You know, he's always rescuing her, and Donna relies on it. She depends on him needing to fix her, to help her in every way. She clings to Doug emotionally and physically and relies on him to keep her safe and emotionally stabilized. And Doug makes all the decisions for Donna, well, all the main ones, and he tries his best to make sure that she doesn't spiral. But she often does, but that's okay because he's always there for her. So I know it's an overly exaggerated story, but it's a story of a rescuer and a rescuee, right? The point is, as I said before, where there's a rescuer, there's always a rescuee. However, if we're going to have balanced, healthy relationships, if you want to be a healthy, balanced person, you are neither the rescuer or the rescuee. And guess what we are? We are a child of God. I am a child of God. I am secure and whole, and I live out of the overflow of the love of God and the truth of God that's in me. That's who I am. So that is succinctly Matthew 22:37 to 40, isn't it? Love God with everything and love others as yourself. And loving God shows up in loving others as well as yourself. And there's always three parties involved, right? We tend to think it's just God and other people, loving them. Like, oops, I've forgotten about me. I've actually become invisible. And I want to say to you now that you are not an afterthought. Okay? You're not invisible. You matter to God. You are loved, you're seen, you're heard, you're understood by Him just as much as your neighbour. So essentially, with this truth that you live out of, that's how you actually love others well and wholeheartedly. How else can you love your neighbour unless you've received and you walk in the love of God and the truth of God for yourself? You can't give out of what you don't have. We give out of what we have. Okay, so look at who is the rescuee. Let's take a look. And I know we might not, and we don't have to think we're the rescuee, but maybe in some situations I am like a rescuee. In other situations I'm like the rescuer. Okay, but the rescuee whose whole mindset is that, who lives this way, it's the damsel or dude in distress, shall we say? And they say, help me, save me, I need you. And the rescuee is a person who believes they need to be saved. They need to be rescued. Help me, save me is their cry. So hence, enter the rescuer, the knight in shining armour. So there is a dependence on being rescued by a rescuer. That's the rescuee. That's their pattern. They rely on that. So this often leads to, codependency, and in mesh relationships, which we'll talk about another time, codependency and mesh relationships. Here's the point. The rescuer needs someone to need them, and the rescuee needs someone to save them. hence this attraction or, towards each other, I guess. And here's the thing though, so what we don't notice and heal and unlearn from childhood, of course we're going to carry it into adulthood. But obviously all of us are working things through from childhood. We're unlearning childhood patterns, we're undoing them, and we're learning renewing our mind in Christ. We're renewing with truth and new patterns, right? To leave our childhood behind us and to take on maturity. And that's God's goal for us, right? Maturity in Christ. So where do these patterns come from? These patterns of being the rescuee, being the one needing to be saved. Well, number one, dysfunctional family systems. So your childhood might have been filled with control, with shaming, with guilt, with inconsistency. And here's another really big thing, modeling. So where a child, you see one parent being really passive and the other being very overpowering. So you might learn to take on one of these identities, the rescuer or the rescuee. So where the parent was a helicopter or overprotective parent, if the parent is always doing everything for you and making decisions and you need to do this, you need to wear this, you need to go this, and then if you passively become like that, you might think, oh, that's how I am loved. And you believe, I am loved by somebody doing things for me. And that is a core belief you need to shift. So from these experiences, a child can learn, see, if I need you, you won't leave me. If I need you, you won't leave me. And then there's also laid on top of those religious beliefs, right? Like we're confusing surrender to God with passivity in life. Let's surrender everything to God. I do nothing. I will just do nothing. God can do everything. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but that's a true religious misbelief that sits inside us that we're not aware of possibly. But on the positive side, rescuers can be deeply relational, really sensitive, and have a longing for safety and security and stability. And of course, those are all valid needs and strengths. So we need to acknowledge that. Let's check. Are you a rescuee? Let's check out these common patterns. So we're, again, not talking about one-off actions, right? Not one-off situations. These are repeating automatic patterns in your life or your friend's life, let's say, or a sibling's life, let's say. Okay, number one, you have difficulty making decisions. To make these big decisions, you need a whole heap of reassurance and affirmation. Yeah. You have boundary issues. So because the rescuer always oversteps, they always overstep your boundary, and the rescuee allows it. So you have boundary issues because you're letting people invade your boundaries. Okay. You hand over your decision making. Oh, you do it. You decide. You make the decision. I'm fine. Whereas underneath, it's like, I don't want to. I don't want to decide. Okay, and also, like, how about this? Feeling loved only when you're being helped. Oh, I feel so loved when I'm being helped. And that can be very addictive. But that can, make you fall into a pattern of just letting you help me all the time, letting you do things for me all the time, because I actually feel love, which is a lie, right? And you might also, because you're so used to these patterns, you have a strong resistance to change, right? Because if you think about it, if I have to change, that means that I will rely less on you rescuing me, and that means that I have to face my shame. I have to, because you're going to stop doing things for me, and I have to face what I'm really struggling with deep inside. But you doing things for me has covered all that up, and I've never had to deal with it. Yeah. And also, this is a really big thing. It can look like a parent-to-child relationship. And if you're in any kind of relationship, especially a romantic relationship, this never works because this erodes the mutuality. Because a healthy relationship is mutual. We give 100%, both of us, each of us. We give the 100% to the relationship. It's not like this person is the parent and this is the child, and the parent keeps doing everything and the child just keeps receiving. It's not like that. These romantic relationships will dissolve. And it's also, the rescuer can develop a sense of entitlement because, children who get everything done for them, well, they've been spoiled, right? So they believe that I have no limits to my entitlement. I never did in childhood. Why should I have it now? It's uncomfortable. Please, I need to be entitled. Okay, so all these patterns, right? What is it establishing? What is it actually developing in you? It's developing a pattern of passivity. Passivity. And that just means stagnation, because how do you get any progress forward if you're passive in your life? Because you know why? We're all born to exercise our sense of agency, our sense of I can make this choice, I'm able to make this choice, and our sense of autonomy, I'm independent of you, this is my life, and this is how I run it, because God speaks to me too. So you suppress all this side of you that God's given you and that you're supposed to grow, and you're constantly relying on the other person. You see, you've just delegated outsourced initiation and decisiveness and doing things on the other person. I think God's very hurt by that, right? Because he was like, I gave you all this agency and autonomy. Why don't you exercise it? You actually can. I've given you my spirit. I've given you my truth. That's what you need. I give you people around you. Yeah. But look, if you do remain passive and you're not aware of it until now, there is a cost to being passive in one's life. God has never called us to passivity, right? You see all the people of faith, when God spoke to them, they took it, they ran, they obeyed God, right? The power of God is activated when you take action. Okay, the power of God, your faith is activated when you take action. I don't need faith if I'm going to do nothing. All right? I don't need faith just sitting and doing nothing and waiting for things to happen. So passivity has a huge cost. So you stop growing from being a child into being an adult. But none of us can stay being an adult child. You can become an adult child, and that's not healthy. And you don't know how to be your own individual person. So you don't know how to make your own decisions, take responsibility, and it's just always so safe to blame others for my own choices. It's just safer it's your fault, it's other people's fault, it's a situation. What would happen if you took up responsibility? And so then you're going to feel like there's nothing you can control in your life because you've outsourced everything externally and not working on yourself and your choices, your thinking internally. So you're going to create a sense of powerlessness in your life, right? You start feeling like, I'm just helpless. I'm powerless. I can't change anything. And most of the time it's because you're not exercised that ability to make a choice, to follow through, to deal with your stuff, to take on responsibility for your own thoughts and feelings and belief system. And so then you're going to feel you have low confidence. And then you're going to miss out on building life skills because of allowing others to do things for you, allowing others to speak up for you. Yeah, you're just not building those skills for yourself. And you don't get to deal with shame, which is a main thing, because it's covered up as a need. Like, I need you to save me. Save me. It feels good. I feel loved. While at the same time, I don't have to deal with this belief. Right? So there will be emotional stagnation. And emotional stagnation, I have to say, equals spiritual stagnation. We can't say, I'm spiritually mature when I'm emotionally immature. That just doesn't work. Look at Jesus' life. He was both spiritually mature and emotionally mature. You can't say that, I'm so spiritual, I'm spiritually mature, I know the Bible back to front, I've been to Bible school, I pray every day, I fast more than you, I serve in church, I'm really spiritual. But then this person is like treating you so badly. You know, they've got anger issues, they're lying, or I'm just naming very obvious things, but it could be more subtle. They're manipulating you, or they're controlling you. One person here and another person, and that was me. That was me in church, the old me, until I decided to own it. Okay. And what happens in relationships, right? Because we're all in relationships in church, romantic relationships, work relationships. Well, if I'm in a relationship with someone else, a romantic one, we're not going to grow. Because, so whenever, to achieve balance, right, there's an over-functioning and under-functioning. There has to be. And the overfunction is trying to achieve balance, but they're doing it too much to achieve the balance. But then because they're being overpowered, the one that's under-functioning becomes less and go, oh. And so there's always this imbalance. One over-functions, one under-functions. One is the parent, the other is the child. Do you see that? It's just totally out of balance. So there's a power imbalance, obviously. So one has all the power and the other one has handed over their power. And this invites toxicity so much into a relationship that it doesn't work. And so both the rescuer and the rescuer is locked into this very dysfunctional dynamic. And you just get really stuck. And you pay the cost of it. So, coming to finish now. So how can the rescuee then break out of these patterns? How can I break out of these patterns? Well, the first one is always awareness, okay? You cannot change what you aren't aware of. You can't change what you don't know. What you don't notice, you will never change. So notice and recognize these patterns and beliefs in you. And you know how you do it really well? Don't be judgmental. Stop judging your thoughts and feelings when they come up. Just be curious like a child. Like, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, no, I wonder what's going on there. Let me explore it some more. So sometimes you have to actually remove yourself from your emotions and your thoughts, and you take a third look on it and go, what's going on there? Maybe I need to change something there. So then second thing is take ownership. It's like, you are not causing me to feel more love. No, I actually need more love, but I need to get it from God. I need to grow my own, my own healthy person. So take ownership of your own patterns and beliefs, acknowledging, yes, these are mine, and I need to do something about it. So it's often not enough to just go, oh, yes, give it intellectual assent. Oh, yes, I know. Oh, yes, that's good to know. Oh, I have so much knowledge. But what is the use if you actually don't do anything about it? Actually changes zero. It changes zero. I feel good when I have a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't change anything unless I put it into action. So then you start looking at, don't be overwhelmed. Take one core belief, journal, ask the Holy Spirit, do what you need to do to attract that core belief, the core patterns, and change one core belief one by one. Replace it. It's the work, guys. People who go to counselling, where the real change happens when they do the work. So when clients rely on counsellors to feel good about themselves, I understand myself so much more, they walk away and they actually don't do the work, there is no change. That is why you can be in therapy for years and years and not see any change, because we have to do the work. That's taking ownership, that's going through some pain, that's facing some pain, that is learning how to tolerate distressing emotions, difficult feelings. Yeah. Okay, so what you do is you just start small. Start making small decisions in your own life. Start making them for you. Own them. Initiate something for you. Maybe you want to do something for another person. Maybe you want to do something back for someone else. Then what you do is you start small and you just build up to bigger decisions. So just start small. Take small steps. If you overwhelm yourself and give up easily, if you just, here's a huge goal, I'm going to reach it tomorrow. Well, that's not realistic, right? So take small steps. Keep building on those small steps. So then you experience some victory. You experience some success that empowers you. And then you're like, your nervous system goes, oh, it wasn't too bad. Actually, it feels really safe. Actually, I can do more. So, that's how it works with your nervous system, your brain relearning a new pattern and discovering that it's safe and you want to keep doing this new pattern. But the problem is facing that first step, right? That's always the hardest. Yeah. And that's where faith steps in. Okay. And get a support person, your little support team. Make sure they understand you, you can trust them, and they can help you make these decisions well. They can hold you accountable. And here's the more important thing, okay? Because after being a rescuee for so long, you lose yourself. You just don't know who you are. I'm always that person that helps me, or I'm always the person that has things done for me. No, you are not. Who are you? Who are you deep down? What does God say to you about you? Who are you in God? And so who you are, what you value, and then you can set your boundaries. Because remember, you've let people just crush and crash on your boundaries all the time, and that's how you can set solid boundaries, because you know who you are and you know what you value. Very important building blocks in your life. Yes, and so that is the talk about the rescuee in relationships. I hope that was helpful.